Hello everyone. Now I will cover the next topic of this DBMS, that is foreign key constraint. So here in detail we will discuss about the foreign key constraint syntax at column level and table level. Right? With example in detail I will cover here foreign key, column level syntax and table level syntax, means how we can create this foreign key at the column level and table level. So as you know, what is foreign key? Foreign key is the reference key, right? One of the primary key of the other table we refer as a foreign key in the another table. And what is the use of foreign key? We create the relationship between the columns, two columns in the same table or between the different table, right? With the help of foreign key. So here we can join the two tables with the help of foreign key. So with example, we will see how we can do this, right? I hope you are clear with the concept, but in short, I will repeat here what is foreign key and will discuss what is the syntax for creating this foreign key. One thing about the foreign key you can remember, student, one or more columns can be defined as a foreign key. In one table, there can be multiple foreign key columns, right? For example, department ID. For the student table, department ID can be your foreign key, course ID can be foreign key, right? So you can remember one table, child table can have multiple foreign keys, right? So if you see here one example, right, whenever you do the requirement analysis in the software development lifecycle, you may gather your all the requirements, right, and you may put into the same single table, right? So what happens when we put all the requirements into the single table, there can be data redundancy. If you take this example, this table contains the information about the student along with their course details, right? So if you observe here, student 201 has enrolled for the course C002. Here my course name is the computing, right? And also here we are maintaining the details about the course teacher and course syllabus, right? If you observe here again, the 203 student has enrolled the same course C002, right? It is a computing course. Again, we are repeating here syllabus for this course, right? So if there are total 200 students, those are registered for the same course, 200 times my syllabus will repeat and also course name will repeat. You can think about here the memory required for storing the syllabus for the same subject. Those are enrolled by the multiple students, right? So to avoid this data redundancy, right, we create the separate tables, right? We use the concept of foreign key and primary key here, right? Here again, another use of the foreign key is what? Also, it is used for to avoid the data inconsistency, right? It is used to maintain the consistent record. How that we will discuss with one example. I hope student you are clear with this. If you are putting your whole requirements into the single table, there will be the problem of data redundancy. So the solution to this problem will be what? We can divide this data into two separate tables. One table will contain only the information about the student, and second table will contain the information about the course details. So here is the solution. Here the same data we have divided into two separate tables. For simplicity, I have shown here only course name, but syllabus also can be there, right? So you can see here in the second table, my course ID will act as a primary key, but this course ID we will refer here in the student table as a foreign key. Right? This course ID will be foreign key in the student table. So see now, because course ID is the primary key in the second table, only we will maintain the information about the course only once, right? You can observe there are total 4 courses and the course name are unique here, right? So, but here in the student table, if there are multiple students, those have enrolled for the same course. For example, here, my Jim, first student, and Amanda is the second student who has enrolled the same course. Only course ID will repeat here. No need to repeat the course name and also syllabus of that course, right? So if there are 200 students, those have enrolled for the same course, only its course ID will repeat 200 times, right? So you can see how data redundancy is avoided here, right? This is the example of data consistency, how your foreign key will help to maintain the data consistency. See here in this another example, my column 1 is the primary key in this first table, right? You know, the table where we declare this field as a primary key is called as the parent table, right? This is my parent table where we are declaring this column as a primary key, and this will be unique in this table. But this column we are referring into the second table. This same column 1 we are referring in this second table. So this second table is called as the child table because this child table is depend on this parent table, right? So see this same data we are referring here. For example, if this column 1 is the department, so our college is having 4 departments: computer, IT, civil, and mechanical, right? So same department we can assign to the employee here or student, right? So and this foreign key can be null here. Some of the employees may be there in the college, those don't have any department. So foreign key can be null in the child table, right? But here, how it maintains the data consistency, this foreign key constraint will allow you only the values those are inserted into the parent table. If user will try to insert the G, for example, G is the department name, some new department, for example, production department is not exists in our college, right? If somebody will try to assign this department to one of the employee or student, right, then my foreign key constraint will give you error. What will be that error? The parent key not found in the parent table, right? The data not found into the parent table because G department does not exist in the parent table. So my foreign key constraint will not allow any invalid data into the table, and this will maintain the data consistency, right? So this is about the use of the foreign key constraint, right? I hope student you are clear with this. See this, we will see this database schema. This foreign key constraint also you can show in the database schema, like your primary key. This underline attribute indicate the primary key in the database schema. Similarly, here dotted line indicate what? A foreign key in the database schema, right? Here in the database schema, there is a customer object, right? Entity where customer ID is the primary key, but this customer ID is the foreign key in the order table, right? It is shown by the dotted line. So here my customer ID is the foreign key, right? Means what? Means what? This customer ID should be primary key here in this parent table. Customer table is my parent table, but the order table is the child table. This order table is depend on the customer table here. Right? Similarly here in the order table, my order ID is the primary key, but in the order line table, it is the foreign key. And in the product table, my product ID is the primary key, but here in the order line, it is the foreign key. So here both the individual field are foreign key in the order line table. Order ID is also foreign key, product ID is also foreign key, but the combination of these two can become the primary key of the order line table. And that's why it is underlined. Solid line is there because it is a primary key, composite primary key of the order line table. I hope student you are clear with this. If you take the example of our college database, here student in the student table, roll number, individual roll number is not enough for the unique identification of the record, right? So because my AC class can have roll number 01, similarly, T can have roll number 01, B can have roll number 01, right? So roll number is alone is not here sufficient for the unique identification of the record. So that's why what we will do here, we can consider the roll number along with the class name. So composite key will be class name along with the roll numbers, and that's why our roll number is also represented by T co 201. Right. Similarly, we can represent B code 201 and so on. Right. So class and roll number combination can be the composite primary key for the student table. This is the same similar example for this order ID and product ID. Right. So whenever it is a foreign key, that particular value should be exist in the parent table. You can note down this. Now see the syntax for creating foreign key at the column level. Right. So the syntax is similar to the primary key. Right. Only here my the rules are same as the primary key. Only my constraint is foreign key constraint here. So as you know, the foreign key will be primary key of the one of the table, parent table. So here first we are creating that parent table must be exist before creating the foreign key. So here my for this example, parent table is the product table. So my ID is here product ID, then constraint name. So we are creating this product ID as a primary key in the parent table. And this is my child table. Order items are the child table where we want to create the foreign key. So order ID is the primary key of the child table, but product ID is the foreign key. Product ID is the foreign key. So what is the syntax for creating this foreign key at column level? So you can declare your attribute as usual, product ID with its data type, number. This data type should be same as the product ID in the parent table. You can remember, student, here, this point to be very important because many students make this mistake, right? And they get the error here. The data type for this foreign key should be same as the data type of the primary key in the parent table, right? So here my data type is number and size is 5. So here your data type should be number and size should be 5 only, right? Then only it will create the foreign key. Otherwise, while inserting the data, there will be error, right? So here constraint and constraint name, it is a part of syntax, which is optional like your primary key. This is optional, but you can add this constraint name. It will help to remove this constraint in future if it is required, if you know the name of the constraint. Then again, here the syntax is what references. Here references is the keyword, right? The spelling, many students also make mistake here, references spelling mistake. And so that also they get the error while creating the foreign key here, right? Then product is the name of my parent table. My parent table name is product, right? So from which table you want to refer this ID, so that parent table name you need to mention as a part of the syntax here, right? So product ID I want to create here as a foreign key. So from which table you want to refer here the attribute, that is my parent table name, and in bracket you can mention the attribute of the attribute name of the parent table only. So this spelling should be same as this primary key spelling, those you have declared in the parent table, right? I hope you are clear with this. Here you are declaring this as one of the attribute of the child table. So this name can be different. The spelling of this attribute can be different than this, because anyhow you are creating the foreign key and you are linking this foreign key attribute with this parent table primary key attributes, right? So this and this spelling can be different, but this and this spelling should be same, right? Otherwise, your error will come here and you will fail to create the foreign key here. I hope, students, these are the minor things, but very important in the foreign key constraint syntax you can remember here, right? Now we'll see the syntax for creating the foreign key at the table level, right? Again, my rules for creating the constraint at the table level is same as the primary key, only my constraint is different here, foreign key constraint, right? So first declare all the attributes of your table, and at last, before closing your bracket, you can mention which field of the table you want to make as a foreign key here. So here we have created a primary key and foreign key, both the constraint at the table level, right? So here how you can create the foreign key at the table level. So here my syntax is constraint name, foreign key. Now this additional keyword is there, that is foreign key. So which field of this table you want to make as a foreign key? This is optional in the column level because no need to mention which table of that same table you want to make as a foreign key, right? Because we are creating this attribute at the table level as a foreign key. So this word is important because which attribute of this table you want to create as a foreign key, and in bracket you can mention this attribute name, that is product ID. So product ID is the attribute of the same table, right? Now references, the next symbol syntax is same as the column level syntax. So next we mention which table you want to refer here, and that's why the keyword is references. After references, you can mention the parent table name and the parent table attribute that you want to refer here in the foreign key attribute, right? So this is my foreign key syntax, right, at the table level. I hope, students, you are clear with this. Again, here you can note down the spelling of this attribute should be same as the parent table, and this should be same as the child table attribute, right? So many students make mistake here and they get the error while creating the foreign key here. So here is the another example for creating the foreign key. This is also one of the possibility. Sometimes you need to create the primary key of the same table as a foreign key in the same table itself, right? So here is the example. Manager ID you want to create as a foreign key, and my manager is nothing but the employee of the same table. Employee ID or employee defined in the same table. So here my employee ID is the primary key of the table, but manager ID can act as a foreign key. Why? Because we want to maintain here data consistency, right? This manager ID should be same as the employee ID. One of the employee will be your manager of the department, right? So this employee you want to refer from the same table, right? So here manager ID number, this data type should be same as this primary key, right? Then references, my syntax is column level syntax here. References, then which table you want to refer here. Now you can observe here the name of the table is same itself, right? Employee 7 is the name of my table. And which field of this table you want to refer as a foreign key here, that is employee ID, right? So for creating the foreign key, we are referring same table, right? So this is also one of the possibility and use of the foreign key. You can create the primary key, foreign key in that same table also by referring the primary key of that same table. I hope you are clear with this. So here we will discuss one simple example and some cases that can happen because of the foreign key constraint, right? So here this is the simple example, department table. My department table can be parent table here, where we are declaring department ID as the primary key. Means department ID will uniquely identify the department in the department table. And I have inserted here 2 records in the department table, right? So there are 2 fields in my department table, department ID and name. So here my what is the syntax for inserting data into the table? Insert into table name, in bracket you can mention which field you want to insert into the table, the name of the field, those we have taken in the create table, right? Department ID and name. Then values you can mention by using this values keyword in bracket. You can mention your actual values. 101 is my department ID and Ajay is the head of the department. Assume this name indicate the head of the department, right? So here by using this insert command, I have inserted 2 records into the table. So how you can see these records into the table? By using this statement, select star from department, right? So select is the DML statement, insert is the DML statement. In previous session also, in short, we have discussed about this, right? So now after this command, you will get this result. This is the result of your select statement. Select statement will retrieve all the records from the table, right? So my records are 1 with the department ID 101 and its head of the department is Ajay, and second record is the 102, head of the department is Vijay, for example, right? Now see what will happen here because of the foreign key constraint. Now my employee table is the child table. My employee table is the child table. Now I want to create this department ID as a foreign key in the employee table, right? So this data type is same as the department table data type field. Then references and department is my parent table. The ID is the field name in my parent table, right? So we have created here department ID as a foreign key, right? By referring the department ID field of the department table. This is the column level syntax. I hope you are clear with this. Now see what will happen when we will try to perform the insert DML operations on the table where foreign key constraint is applied, right? So first we can discuss here insert operation. Now I want to insert here the record into the employee table, right? So before going to insert the records into the employee table, which is a child table, my department should be exist into the parent table, right? So my which departments are exist into the parent table, that is 101 and 102. Now see here in this table, I am trying to insert the department which is 103, which is not exist into the parent table, right? So here I'm inserting the record into the employee table, and which values I am inserting into the employee table: employee ID, the department of that employee, and the name of the employee. Here Akshay is the name of the employee, 103 is the department, but here department does not exist into the department table, right? So what will happen when you will try to insert this record into the employee table? My server will give you error, that is parent key not found into the parent table, right? So here integrity constraint violated, right? And which constraint is violated here? Parent key not found, because 103 department does not exist into the department table. Only two departments are exist, and that's why my foreign key will take care of this data consistency, right? So here, even though you're trying to insert the wrong department which is not exist into the college, right, by mistake, this can happen by your end user. So my foreign key constraint will not allow you to insert the invalid department into the table, right? So this is about the insert operation, right? So here, if you're inserting 101 and 102, there is not error, and these records will be inserted into the employee table. So if you execute this command select star from employee, so these two records will enter into the table employee, right? So my table records are 101 employee with the department 101 and 102. Ajay and Vijay, these are the name of the employee. The same employee can be head of the department of the departments, right? I hope you are clear with this. Another case we can discuss for the update operation here. Update is also DML operation. Like your insert operation, again, if you are trying to update the department of one of the employee which is not exist into the department table, right? Again, my integrity constraint, foreign key constraint will valid here. It will give you message parent key not found, because 103 department does not exist into the department table that you are trying to assign to the employee 101 with the help of update command. So update command will modify data into the database. Update employee say did equal to 10, where employee ID is 101. This is the syntax of update statement, right? So update, then table name, set. Update command always comes with the set operator, because we use update command to modify the field value, right? So set did equal to 103. We are trying to assign this did to the 103 for employee. After where clause, always we put some condition, right? So which employee you want to modify here, that is 1001, but here department does not exist, and that's why my error will come here, parent key not found, right? See the another case of update here. If you want to update the value in the table, those are not associated with any other table. For example, here I'm trying to change the name of the employee, right? Update employee set name equal to Akshay. Now this name is filled in the employee table. I am trying to update the name of the employee here, where employee ID is 1001. Previously my name of the employee was Ajay. Now I have make it to the Akshay, right? So there will not be any error, because my name field is a foreign key and it is not associated with any other table, right? So that's why it will allow you to change the name of the employee here, and when you will see this record using select star from employee, this will be updated in the table, right? So this name was Ajay initially. Now after update operation, my result will be this. I hope you are clear with this. In the department, my head of the department name will not change, because my name is not here linked with this name. If you want to do this, again, you can create the linking of this to name field by using the foreign key constraints, right? But that we have not done here. Again, same problem will occur when you will try to delete the primary key record from the parent table. If some students are already associated with the primary key in the parent table, right? And if you will try to delete the records from the parent table, again, my constraint will valid here and it will give you the error, right? Why? Because for example, there are 100 students, those are associated with the civil department, right? And if you are trying to delete the civil department from the parent table, that is department table, my foreign key constraint will not allow to delete the civil department from the parent table, because there is a foreign key constraint. Some records are already associated with this parent table, right? So it will lose the information about the department of that particular students, right? And that's why my foreign key constraint will not allow you to delete these records from the parent table. But sometimes this can happen. You need to delete that records from the parent table, and all the records those are associated with the parent table, right? If you want to delete that record, I mean civil department you want to remove from the department table, and all the students those are associated with the civil department also you want to delete from the child table, right? So this is also possible with the help of here foreign key constraint with on delete cascade. So while creating foreign key constraint, you can create this foreign key with the on delete cascade option. So what will happen with this, when you will delete the record from the parent table, means civil department from the parent table, all the records those are associated with this civil department will also delete from the child table, right? So on delete cascade, delete operation will happen with the parent table also and child table also, right? So this is one variation of foreign key constraint you can try here. Then another case that can happen with the foreign key constraint is what? Foreign key constraint with on delete set null. What can happen here? Suppose you want to delete only the records from the parent table, but not from the child table. So instead of deleting record from the child table, only you want to add the null value there, right? So if you are want to try the delete record from the civil department, you want to delete the civil department, but not the student those are associated with the civil department. So in the department field, you want to put the null value, right? So that is also possible with the on delete set null. So whenever you will delete the civil department from the parent table, all the records or students those are associated with the civil department value will set to the null. So their department value will be null because civil department you have deleted from the parent table. So I hope student you are clear with this. Thank you.